Section 6.1, Polynomials. Here we have the definition for a monomial, which is a real number, a variable, or a product of a real number and one or more variables with whole number exponents. Examples of some monomials would be 3x or 7x squared or 3xy or just the number 5. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of its variables. So for example here, 2x to the third has a degree of 3, where 3x squared y cubed has a degree of 5. In this example, we're looking at finding the degree of each monomial. So in example 1, we've got 5x to the first power. They didn't write the 1 here, but there's still a 1 as the exponent. So this first one has a degree of 1. In 2, we've got 6x cubed y squared. So we're going to add our exponents together, and so this has a degree of 6. In 4, there is no exponent. So that means we have a degree of 0. There's no exponent and there's no variable, so this has a degree of 0. And then in example 4, our x has an exponent value of 1, the y has an exponent value of 1, and the z has an exponent value of 3. So 1 plus 1 plus 3 gives us a degree of 5. Polynomials. A polynomial is a monomial or the sum of monomials. So in this case, we could have a random monomial like 5x squared, or we can have multiple monomials strung together with the addition or subtraction sign, creating individual terms. The standard form of a polynomial is when you have a polynomial where each term is written in decreasing value of degree. So for our example here, this first term has a degree of 3, this term has a degree of 2, degree of 1, and degree of 0. The degrees are decreasing from left to right. The degree of a polynomial is the same as the degree of the greatest monomial term. And so the thing to keep in mind here is polynomials are made up of individual monomials put together with the addition or subtraction sign in between them. The addition or subtraction signs serve as a means to separate the terms. So in this case, this is one term, this is another term, and this is another term. And so as we look at this, the first term has a degree of 5, the second has a degree of 3, the third has a degree of 2. So our largest degree would be 5. So this polynomial has a degree of 5. You take the largest degreed term. What is the degree of each polynomial? So in the first one, this is just a monomial. So we know that each of the variables has an exponent value of 1, which means our degree is 1 plus 1 here, since it's a single term. So that's 2. In the next example, we have two terms, 6x cubed and y to the 7th. The degree of the first term is 3, while the degree of the second term is 7. Since this is a polynomial, we take the largest degree, which in this case would be 7. And number 3, same idea. We have two terms. The first term has a degree of 5. The second has a degree of 3. So we take the largest degree as our degree for our polynomial. So this has a degree of 5. Same idea here. There is no exponent, there is no variable for number 4. Since there's no variable, there's no exponent, so this has a degree of 0. In 5, we look at each term. We have a degree of 5, degree of 6, degree of 1. So the entire polynomial has a degree of 6. In example 6, we have a degree of 4, we have a degree of 3, we have a degree of 0. 4 is the largest, so our polynomial has a degree of 4. Classifying and naming polynomials. If a polynomial has one term, it's considered a monomial. If a polynomial has two terms, it's called a binomial. If it has three terms, it's called a trinomial. And four or more terms is simply just a polynomial. Here they want us to write each polynomial in standard form and then tell what the degree is and then name it based on the number of terms. So for number one, in order to write this from degree in standard form, we go from largest degree to smallest. So the first term has a 1, the second one has a 2, so those are not on the right order. So we switch them. Our standard form becomes 4x squared plus 3x. The degree of this polynomial is just 2. And in this case, we're going to call this a binomial because it has two terms. And the next one, we essentially have four terms, but we'll notice something here. We have like terms here. The 4x and 7x can be combined, so they're going to make a single term eventually. So as we write this in standard form, we're going to bring the 5x cubed out in front. It has the largest degree, plus 11x minus 1. This polynomial has a degree of 3. And since it has three terms, we're going to call this a trinomial. In the next example, we'll do something very similar. The 8x squared is the highest degree item, so it comes out front, plus 2x minus 3. Our degree for this polynomial is just 2. And because we have three terms, we're going to call this a trinomial. Go ahead and take a second and attempt the wrap-up. Pause the video, and when you're done, unpause the video to check your answers.